I can't believe you did this," Emily exclaimed, her voice echoing in the quiet of the room, where the warm glow of the yellow lights couldn't chase away the chill that had settled between the two of them. She stood facing Michael, the husband she once thought was the epitome of responsibility and trustworthiness. But now, all she felt was betrayal and confusion. Michael, with a look of surprise and a hint of unease on his face, didn't know what to say. He hadn't anticipated Emily's reaction when he decided to add his mother, Linda, to their joint account without informing her. "You don't understand why I thought this was a reasonable decision," she continued, each word piercing through her heart that was breaking. "We're married, and every major financial decision should be made together." Their small room suddenly felt cramped, as if the physical space was suffocating their emotions. Sweet memories of their happy days together were now overshadowed by doubt and anger. Emily looked out the window, where snowflakes were gently falling, but inside her, everything felt like a swirling snowstorm. She wondered, could this be just the beginning of even bigger troubles? Chaotic thoughts flooded her mind. Michael had once been someone she could trust completely, but now, the disrespect in this decision made her feel as though she was standing on the edge of an endless abyss. If he can make financial decisions without consulting me, what else might he do without telling me? She couldn't help but think of the worst-case scenarios. Michael took a deep breath, trying to find the right words to soothe Emily's stormy heart. "I just thought that if something happened to us, my mom would need access to the account to take care of things," he explained. But his words only seemed to add fuel to the fire. "That's why I didn't think you would object." "And you thought that adding your mother to the account without discussing it with me was a reasonable decision?" Emily asked, her tone bitter. "If one day, the worst happens, I don't want to have to fight with my mother-in-law for control of our assets." She felt as if a heavy stone was pressing down on her chest, each word cutting into her self-esteem. The atmosphere in the room grew tense, as if the entire world outside had stopped to listen to their argument. Emily couldn't stop thinking about what had just happened. She had once believed their marriage was a solid alliance, but now, she felt utterly alone in the storm. "I can understand your intentions," she said, her voice softening but still resolute. "But shouldn't we have a clearer plan for the future? Instead of just adding someone to the account, we could create a will to make everything clearer if something happens." She looked directly into Michael's eyes, trying to find a sign of understanding, but all she saw was confusion. Michael finally nodded, but his expression remained troubled. "I didn't think things would get this complicated," he said, but Emily could see in his eyes that he was beginning to grasp the seriousness of the situation. "That's exactly the problem," she replied. "Not everything is as simple as we think. Life can change in the blink of an eye, and we need to prepare for every situation." She felt as if she were standing at a crossroads, where every decision could lead to unforeseen consequences. Emily knew they needed to have a serious conversation about their finances and their future. She didn't just want to protect her assets. She wanted to safeguard their relationship. But would Michael understand the importance of this? She felt like she was in a battle not only with her husband but also with her own emotions. "We need to communicate more clearly about this," she said, determined not to let ignorance harm their relationship. "If we don't, we'll only drift further apart." Deep down, she hoped this dialogue would lead to positive change, but the anxiety still haunted her. Could they overcome this challenge, or was this just a sign that a bigger storm was approaching? Emily sat at the dining table, the light from the overhead lamp casting long shadows on the wooden surface. She tried to take a bite of her bread, but her taste buds felt numb. Everything around her seemed to fade into the background, and her mind was still spinning from the argument she had just had. Michael had left the house to meet a friend, leaving her with a heavy silence, where negative thoughts kept replaying in her head. "Maybe I was too harsh," she told herself, but immediately, another part of her rebutted. "But how can I accept such disrespect?" She couldn't stop thinking about why Michael hadn't discussed this important decision with her beforehand. The feelings of abandonment and being unvalued as a partner haunted her. As she looked out the window, Emily saw the snowflakes still falling, but now they no longer seemed beautiful. They felt like her tears, falling without anyone to share them with. She decided she needed to do something to regain control over her life. She couldn't let Michael or anyone else decide her future without her input. She remembered a conversation she had with her best friend, Sarah, a few weeks ago. Sarah, a strong and independent woman, had always encouraged her to be more confident in standing up for her rights. "If something makes you uncomfortable, stand up and speak out," Sarah had said. "Don't let anyone else decide for you." That was exactly what Emily needed to do right now. Determined, Emily picked up her phone and called Sarah. "Hey, Sarah. I need to talk to you," she said, her voice trembling but filled with resolve. "What's going on?" Sarah immediately sensed the seriousness in Emily's tone. She recounted everything that had happened with Michael and his decision. "I feel like I'm losing control," she sighed. "I don't know what to do next." "You need to confront him," Sarah replied, her voice strong. "Don't let him think you'll accept everything without your input. Let him know how you feel." Emily nodded, knowing that the upcoming conversation with Michael wouldn't be easy. That evening, when Michael returned home, Emily was ready for the conversation. "We need to talk," she said as he walked in. Michael looked at her, a hint of worry crossing his face. "About what?" he asked. But Emily wouldn't give him a chance to evade the issue. "About our finances," she replied, her tone firm. "I want to know everything. You added your mother to the account without telling me. And now I want to see all the bills and account statements. I can't let everything be in your hands blindly." Michael frowned, his expression shifting from concern to defensiveness. "Emily, I only did that to protect us. You don't need to worry about these things. I'll handle everything," he said, but Emily couldn't accept that. "That's exactly the problem," she shot back, her voice rising. "I don't want to be just a bystander in my own life. I want to be involved in every decision. If you can't understand that, then maybe we need to reconsider our relationship." A heavy silence hung between them, and Emily felt as if she'd just dropped a bomb in the room. Michael stood there, his eyes flickering with confusion and anger. "You're threatening our marriage over a financial decision?" he asked, his tone somewhat mocking. "No, I'm protecting it," she replied, her emotions surging. "I don't want to be a wife who just obeys. I want a voice and control over my life." She felt like she was fighting not just for herself but for their future together. Michael shook his head, clearly disagreeing. "You may not understand. But I did this for family. My mom needs support, and I don't want you to worry about anything other than taking care of our family," he said. But Emily couldn't accept that reasoning. "Our family is important too," she said, her tone softening but still resolute. "If you can't respect my opinion on major issues like this, then I don't know where we're headed." She felt as if she were standing at a crossroads, where each decision could lead to a vastly different future. Their dialogue continued to be tense. And Emily realized that not only Michael but also Linda, her mother-in-law, could be a troublemaker in this relationship. She couldn't let others decide her life. She needed to find a way to protect herself and their relationship without making things worse. "I won't let this continue," she said, her voice steadier now. "I will find out everything about our finances, about what's going on. I need to know, and I won't stop until I get the truth." Michael looked at her, and she saw a hint of fear in his eyes. But also a sense of respect. Perhaps, just perhaps, he would understand that she wasn't just a wife but an equal partner in their life together. As their conversation came to an end, Emily felt as if she had stepped out of the shadows. She didn't know what would happen next, but she knew she had decided to stand up for herself. Deep inside, she felt a new fire igniting. A powerful motivation to uncover the truth and protect what was hers. This battle wasn't just about finances, it was about dignity, self-respect, and her own future. Emily sat at her desk, the light from the lamp casting a small circle on the cluttered surface filled with papers and bills. She had spent the entire evening reviewing the documents Michael had left behind, and now the numbers and information danced before her eyes like ghosts, making her feel dizzy. She had decided to not only investigate their finances but to dig deeper into what was really going on in Michael's life. She opened her laptop and accessed their bank account. Although Michael had said he would handle everything, Emily felt the need to check for herself. As she looked at the transactions, a wave of anxiety washed over her. Numerous expenditures she had no knowledge of began to appear, payments for a financial consulting service, trips she hadn't been informed about. And especially a large transfer to an account in Linda's name, her mother-in-law. "This can't be happening," she whispered, her heart swelling with doubt and anger. She had once thought Michael was trustworthy, but now everything seemed off. She felt as if she were standing on the edge of a terrible secret, and she needed to confront it. She called Sarah. Her voice trembling as she spoke, "I need you to come over right now. Something big is happening." Sarah, sensing the urgency in Emily's tone, arrived within half an hour. As she walked in, Emily was ready to share what she had just discovered. "What did you find?" Sarah asked, her expression worried. Emily opened her laptop and pointed to the screen. "Look at this. There are expenses I wasn't aware of. Michael transferred money to his mother without telling me. And there are other expenditures that I don't understand." Sarah stared at the screen. And a heavy silence fell between them. "Are you sure?" Sarah asked, her voice low. There could be a reasonable explanation for these expenses. But Emily was out of patience. She felt as if she were standing in the middle of a storm, and everything was only getting worse. "No, Sarah. This isn't a misunderstanding. He's been sneaking around and doing this without informing me," she said, tears beginning to fall. "I feel like I'm being betrayed." She placed her hand on her chest, the pain feeling like a dagger piercing her heart. "I don't know what to do next." "You need to talk to him," Sarah advised, her voice firm. "Don't let this continue. You need to face the truth." Emily nodded, but inside, she couldn't stop thinking about what would happen if she confronted Michael. A sense of apprehension enveloped her as she decided that not only would she ask Michael about this, but she would demand an explanation for these charges. She wanted to know if there was anything else she didn't know. She felt as if she were standing on the brink of an unavoidable battle. When Michael returned home, Emily was ready. She stood up, looking him straight in the eye, and said, "We need to talk right now." Michael looked at her, a hint of worry crossing his face. "About what?" he asked. But Emily wouldn't give him a chance to evade the issue. "About our finances," she said, her tone now steady. "I checked the accounts and saw many expenses I wasn't aware of." "Why did you transfer money to your mother without telling me? Why are there expenditures I don't know about?" Michael looked confused, and Emily could see the worry in his eyes. "Emily, I only did that to protect you and the family," he stammered. "My mom needs support, and I didn't want you to worry about this." "That's not an excuse," she shouted, her emotions surging. "I can't accept that you make all the decisions without my consent. I feel like I'm no longer part of this life." She had lost control, tears streaming down her face, and she couldn't stop herself. "You don't understand," Michael said, his tone becoming harsh. "You don't know the pressure I'm under. I can't share everything with you because I don't want you to worry." Emily felt as if she had just been slapped in the face. "So you chose to keep secrets from me," she replied, her voice growing cold. "If you can't respect me in major decisions like this, then I don't know how we can continue." She felt as if she were standing at the edge of a difficult decision. "Do you want a divorce?" Michael asked, the anger in his voice shocking her. "Do you really want to end everything over a few financial issues?" "No, I don't want a divorce," she said, her voice softening but still resolute. "But I can't live in a relationship without trust. I need to know that I can rely on you." She felt as if she were at a crossroads, where each decision could lead to a vastly different future. "So what do you want?" Michael asked. His voice now calmer, but confusion still lingered in his eyes. What do you want me to do to make you feel safer? Emily took a deep breath, feeling as if everything was piling up inside her. I want us to work through this together. I can't continue living in doubt. We need to have a clear plan for the future, and I want you to be a part of it. She felt as if she had just made a crucial request, a significant step forward in their relationship. Michael nodded, but she could see that he still had many concerns. I'll try, he said. His voice somewhat weak. But you also have to understand that there are things I can't share right away. I understand, she replied, her heart filled with hope. But we need to work together. If we don't, we won't be able to get through this. She felt as if she had found a way out of the chaos, and maybe, just maybe, they would figure out how to overcome this challenge together. As the conversation came to an end, Emily felt as if she had stepped out of the shadows. Although she didn't know what the future held, she knew she had decided to stand up for herself and for their relationship. She felt a new fire igniting within her, a powerful motivation to uncover the truth and protect what was hers. This battle was not just about finances, it was about trust, respect, and her own future. Emily stood there, her heart filled with emotion, as if she had just stepped out of a major storm. She looked into Michael's eyes, feeling as though they were both standing on the edge of a cliff, where every word could send them tumbling into the abyss. We need to start over, she said, her voice now calmer but still determined. We need to rebuild trust. Michael nodded. But the worry in his eyes remained. I don't know how, he admitted, his voice weak. There are so many things I've kept from you. I don't know where to begin. Emily felt a wave of compassion rise within her, but she also understood that this was the moment for both of them to confront the painful truths. Maybe we can start by sharing everything, she suggested. I need to know what you're thinking and how you feel about these decisions. We can't continue like this. She felt as if she were opening a door. But she also knew that behind that door could be painful truths they both needed to face. Do you know that I feel pressure too? Michael asked, confusion evident on his face. I'm not just worried about my mom but also about us. I don't want you to carry any more burdens. Emily felt a pang of sympathy, but she also knew that his worries couldn't justify keeping secrets. I understand, she said, her tone softer. But if you don't share, I won't be able to help you. We're a team, right? She saw his expression warm slightly at her words. But the tension still lingered in the air. Michael was silent for a moment, as if weighing each word. So, what do we do next? He asked, uncertainty still present in his voice. Is there any way to go back to how things were? Emily felt a chill creep in, realizing that there was no way to return. They had come too far, and the cracks in their relationship were too evident. Maybe we can't go back to how things were, she admitted, her heart heavy. But I believe we can build something new, if we both try. She sensed that she was slowly accepting reality. Yet deep down, there were still many unanswered questions. Do you think we can get through this? Michael asked, his eyes searching for a glimmer of hope. Emily looked into his eyes. And in that moment, she saw their fragility. I don't know, she replied honestly, but I want to try. I want us to fight together. The tension in the room seemed to ease. But it was still present like a lingering shadow. Emily felt a connection forming between them, yet she knew that the road ahead would not be easy. Perhaps we need time, she said, her voice gentler now. Time to understand each other better, to rebuild trust. I'm ready, Michael said, and this time, he seemed sincere. But you have to know there will be difficult moments. Emily nodded, her heart filled with empathy. I know, she said, but I also know that we can't do this alone. As they stood there, a sense of calm began to spread in the air. But it couldn't erase the anxieties lingering within. Emily felt as if she were standing at a crossroads, where each decision could lead to a vastly different future. She wondered if they could truly overcome these challenges, and whether their love was strong enough to withstand the storms ahead. Are we going to move forward together, right? She asked. Her tone both assertive and questioning. Michael looked at her, determination in his eyes but also a hint of worry. Yes, but we have to really try, he replied, and in his voice. Emily sensed a flicker of hope. They stood there, amidst the fragments of their past and unfulfilled dreams, and in that moment, a larger question loomed in Emily's mind. Is love strong enough to heal the deep wounds they've inflicted on each other? She didn't know the answer, but one thing was certain, the journey ahead would be fraught with challenges. And they would have to face the uncertainties of the future together. Emily sat by the window, sunlight streaming through the green leaves, casting shimmering patterns on the floor. She gazed outside, where the leaves danced gently in the breeze, and felt a sense of peace gradually settling into her soul. After the storms that had passed, she felt as though she was standing at the brink of a new beginning. An opportunity to rebuild her life and her love. Her journey had not been easy. The tense conversations with Michael had left her feeling hurt and vulnerable. But those moments had also helped her realize the value of truth and courage. She learned that love is not just about romance or joyful moments, but also about acceptance, forgiveness, and facing challenges together. She recalled the tears that had fallen, the arguments they had had, and the heavy silences that had lingered. Yet through all of it, one thing stood out. The power of forgiveness. Forgiveness was not about forgetting mistakes, but about accepting them as part of life, allowing both of them to grow from the experience. Michael, she whispered, as if he were standing beside her. I've made a decision. She had thought not only of herself but of both of them. She wanted to give him a chance. A chance to prove that their love could overcome any obstacle. She wanted him to know that she loved him not just for his good qualities, but also for his flaws and mistakes. Those were what made him who he was, and they brought her closer to him. Emily stood up, determination in every step. She walked into the living room where Michael was sitting. His gaze turned toward the window, as if lost in thought about what had transpired. As she entered, he turned to her, worry etched on his face. What have you been thinking? He asked. His voice tinged with apprehension. I've been thinking about us, she replied, her heart filled with resolve. About what has happened and what we need to do next. She sat down beside him, feeling the closeness between them. I can't deny that things have been very difficult, but I also can't deny that I still love you. Michael looked at her, surprise evident on his face. You really still love me? He asked, his voice barely above a whisper, as if he couldn't believe what he had just heard. Emily nodded, tears shimmering in her eyes. Yes. I love you. But I also need you to understand that this love requires honesty and sincerity from both of us. I've decided to forgive, she said, her voice steady. But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. I want us to face our mistakes together, learn from them, and grow together. She felt a new strength rising within her, as if the burdens she had carried were being lifted. And now she could look toward the future with an open heart. Michael lowered his head, his eyes filled with emotion. I don't know what to say, he sighed. I regret what happened. I never wanted to hurt you. Emily felt the sincerity in his words, and it warmed her heart. I know, she said, taking his hand. We both make mistakes. What matters is that we can learn from them and not let them define our future. She felt as if they were standing at a crossroads, where each decision could lead to a different path. But this time, she didn't feel afraid. She felt confident in her choice. So what do we do next? Michael asked, hope shining in his eyes. We'll start over, Emily replied, her voice gentle yet firm. We'll rebuild trust together, step by step. I want us to become better companions, not just in love but in life. She saw Michael's eyes light up, and in that moment, she knew they had found a new path. A path they could walk together, despite the challenges ahead. They would not just be a couple, they would be companions, supporting each other through every trial. Emily smiled, feeling her heart swell with hope. We'll need time, she said, but I believe that if we both try, we can overcome anything. She felt as if she was stepping into a new chapter of her life, where love and forgiveness would guide them both. As they sat together, holding hands, Emily knew that the journey ahead would not be easy. But she also understood that it was through those difficulties that they would find strength and maturity. Together, they would write their own story, a story filled with lessons about love, forgiveness, and growth. And in her heart, one question lingered: can love heal all wounds? She didn't know the answer. But she believed that with perseverance and sincerity, they would find light in the darkest days. Because in the end, love is not just an emotion, it is a journey, a commitment, and a valuable lesson that they would explore together.